Hello, this is Using Word Clouds in the Classroom, and I am Leslie Charles, and I am the Digital Integration Coordinator at Muskingum Valley Educational Service Center. So we are going to talk about using these word clouds. Generally, I do these professional developments for teachers or educators that are in the classroom, but this really could be used for anyone, and it could be used in any situation. So we'll get started with this. And we'll talk about just some general housekeeping tips. So in a live event, obviously, we would make sure you have your microphones muted and make sure that you put your name in the chat box. For those that are attending the recorded version, you will need to fill out the Google form, and at the end of this presentation, there will be a QR code that will take you directly to that. The other thing that you'll need to have, if you want to jot this down, is use code ZBIPRIJ, all lowercase letters, it's there highlighted, to join the Google Classroom to watch the recorded sessions from the virtual conferences that we have been having all year long. And then, as always, if you need some technology instructional coaching, you can go to that website, ecoe.sc/techcoach, and you can sign up for a personal tech coaching session. So let me put myself in the screen and I'll introduce myself. My name is Leslie Charles. I'm the Digital Integration Coordinator here at Muskingum Valley ESC. And just a little bit about myself. I've been working here since 2002, so I've been here a very long time, and I've been doing this same position for that many years, actually way before COVID. I have my permanent teaching certificate as a K-8 teacher from The Ohio State University and my master's degree from the University of Dayton. And I am excited to be able to do this lesson with you. Technology integration is my passion. I love working with teachers in classrooms and implementing technology. I've done that since I was back in the classroom. And so it was something that I felt very passionate about, and I'm happy that I get to now work with teachers and administrators in a different capacity and help them integrate technology into their classrooms. So normally when I do this face-to-face, and I'll just go ahead and put this up on the screen, I like to always try to bring my audience into what I'm doing and make sure that they are part of what I am and doing with my session. And so a lot of times I always feel like we get into this idea that we're watching a screen. So generally when I start a lesson, I will have people rate themselves with different brain different icebreakers or brain breaks. And so with the yes and no buttons here, I would ask you to in the chat box, type in yes or no if you have used a word cloud in the classroom in the past. And I would say probably there are veteran teachers that may have used this in the past, but maybe this isn't something that you have used often lately. And it's something that's really worth looking into and going back to and revisiting, because it is a really, really good strategy to use. This would be an example of an icebreaker question. And this is using the site Mentimeter. And if you're not familiar with it, it is a really good free site that you can use. But Mentimeter is one of those websites that allows you to create these different live presentations that you can throw up. In a Zoom call, I always like to use something like this because it helps to, bring people into what I'm talking about. And it doesn't have to even relate to what it is that you're going to be talking about. As you can see, my question that I've thrown up is, if you had to eat one meal every day for the rest of your life, what would that be? And then the QR code is meant to for people to use their personal response systems to take a picture of that and have it take them directly to my mentee's site or they could go to www.menti.com and use that code to enter. And I'll pull up the website so you can see what it would look like on the end of myself and for the viewers of my audience when I share my screen. As the answers come in, they would be placed there in that white section down below the question. And the words that are more frequent would obviously become larger and larger and larger. So it's just a great way to integrate something that you should be doing anyways, whether it is students or adults. You want to break the tension. You want to bring people into your presentation. And with something like this, as people are adding in their information, you can in real time see those come up and reconfigure themselves. And obviously, if I had a live audience, they hopefully would be putting those things in. So it's a great way to just really set the tone for your session that you're doing and really get people involved in your lesson. So let's start with this. So I have had people ask, and it's not a crazy question at all, what exactly is a word cloud? And sometimes I've heard people call them tag clouds, but really it's a graphic. And the bigger the word, the more often it is used in the text, and the more often it is typed into the program that you're using for your word cloud. So we use it to find commonalities or frequency in data. And it really just shows popularity of words or phrases by making the most frequently words appear larger and bolder compared to other words that are around them. And it usually contains a set of data, like a list of words or text from a blog post or an article. And it's a way for you to see the information visually. And on the corners of my screen, you can kind of see, just some different representations of word clouds. Now, these are obviously in a round form, but depending on what program you use, you can actually take these word clouds and fit them into unique sizes and shapes, and they can be pretty cool ways to represent data in your classroom. Now, it's not just classrooms that you will see these. Sometimes you'll see them in meeting rooms or even like news reports or classrooms, obviously, but they're a really effective tool to boost interaction online, in hybrid or Zoom, even in face-to-face lectures and meetings, because the tool collects the words and the audience participates by submitting their answers in through their phone or some sort of response system. And again, it just enlarges the most popular words that have been sent in or the more frequent words that have been sent in. Now, as for generating these word clouds, there are numerous options. Word clouds were all the rage a few years ago, and there were numerous sites that popped up to generate them. But like all tech applications, those fade with popularity over time and are replaced by the next newest big thing. So it is possible that you've thought about these in the past, maybe even bookmarked sites. I suggest that you look at those bookmarks, see if some of those may be something that you can use today. I am going to give you free ones to use because I will tell you I am somewhat of a minimalist when it comes to trainings. I like to work in threes because if I feel like if I give you too many things, you're going to forget those. But if I work in threes, hopefully you will remember all three of them, but minimally maybe one or two that will stick with you. Today I am going to break out of my comfort zone and give you the fourth one because I think the fourth one is a pretty cool and it's easy to use as well. But generally I stick with free and easy because that is what teachers like and administration like when they don't have to pay for them. So these are the ones we're going to talk about today, and these are ones I'm assuming everyone has access to. The first one is Microsoft Word. So that's something that we will talk about, how you can do it just with a Word document. Google Docs. Everybody usually has a Google account where they can create these. The third one is an actual website called wordart.com. And the last one I already mentioned a little earlier, which is Mentimeter. And all of these are great options, and they are free and easy. So let's go ahead and start with Microsoft Word. So Microsoft Word is obviously, if you are a Microsoft user, you would have this on your computer. And so there is a easy way to incorporate word clouds, and I'm going to show you exactly how to find it and where to find it. So I have already completed this in a short video tutorial that I'm going to share with you right now.
Okay, the first option that I'm going to give you to create word cloud is free, and it is Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word is something that most people have on their computers. So you're going to go into Microsoft Word and you're going to go ahead and open up a blank document. Once you do that, you're going to look at the top and you're going to see different tabs across the top. Go to the Insert tab, and then about halfway over, you're going to see an option that says Get Add-ins. Go ahead and select Get Add-ins, and then type in your search bar a word to search for. We're going to search for word cloud. And once you do the search, you're going to get an option that says Pro Word Cloud. You simply hit Add, and now you have added that to your Microsoft Word. Now, since I've already added this, I'm going to show you what it looks like for when you open up an additional document. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my document, and I'm going to go now to the Insert tab, but instead of Get Add-ins, you're going to go to My Add-ins. Anything that you've added to Microsoft Word will be in this tab. You're going to select the down caret, and again, see that I have the option of Pro Word Cloud. That's something that I added, so it will be there. So I'm going to select it, and it will open up on the right side. Now, all you have to do from this point is choose your preferences and what your word cloud you want it to look like. You can choose colors, you can choose the directionality of the words, and the maximum number of words, the size, all kinds of cool little options you can add here. So I have already went to a website and I have selected a story, a fairy tale, and I've copied it onto my clipboard. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to create this word cloud based on the story that I just selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my font. So I'm going to go over here. There's lots of fonts to choose from. I'm going to just select, let's go to this one, Silent to Movie. And then I'm going to change the colors. I'm going to change my colors to something a little bit different. They have a default in there. I'm going to choose, let's choose Celebration. Then here's your layout. Do you want your words to mostly be horizontal, mostly vertical, half and half, higgledy-piggledy? Higgledy-piggledy just means they kind of go in there any which way. I'm going to go ahead and hit higgledy-piggledy. The case, that is how you want your words to display. Do you want them to be all uppercase, all lowercase? You can preserve the case that they are in the selection of text that you copied. So all these different options. I'm going to go ahead and do intelligent case because it's going to try to figure out the best way to show the words that you just selected. You can also change the maximum number of words. I'm going to go ahead and change mine to 500. I don't know that I'm going to need that many, but we're going to see what happens. So the last little option here you might want to choose is if you've selected a story like I did or a selection of text, you might want to make sure that you remove common words. So things like and, the, to, and I'm going to go ahead and select that. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and create my word cloud. So first thing I have to do is I have to select some text. So I'm going to paste in the story that I chose, and then I'm going to highlight it. Once I have highlighted, now I just I took my mouse and dragged to copy it. You could have done Control A, which will select all of them. And then I'm going to hit Create Word Cloud. Now it's thinking and it's generating a word cloud image that is from the word and the words that I selected from that fairy tale. And again, it has put it all in here. And then you can choose to keep it the way that it is, or you can tell it to regenerate it. So I'm going to go ahead and regenerate it, and let's see what happens. Does it make it a little bit different? Does it create it in a different layout? And it does. Not a whole lot different, but the words are going to be displayed, and the ones that are more frequent are obviously the ones that happen most often in the text. Then all you have to do is you can go ahead and right click it, save image as, or copy image. I'm going to go ahead and copy the image, and then you can put it within your document, and you can see that it is displayed there. Now, if you weren't reading the words that I pasted in there before, looking at this, you might be able to detect very quickly what story I chose. And the words that happen more frequently are obviously the words that are larger. So if you weren't aware, it was Beauty and the Beast, and you can see this. So this would be a great way for you to do an icebreaker. You could choose words from your audience, but I just chose to copy and paste it in just to give you an example of how to do this in Microsoft Word. Okay.
All right, so Microsoft Word, quick, easy, and free. And it's a really quick way to visualize the information that you put in there. Now, again, I chose to paste in a selection of text. It doesn't have to be that way. You could have your audience or your students be adding words into a chat box if you're in a Zoom lesson, or you could be doing it manually as they are in the classroom face-to-face, but a great way to visually represent what you are talking about. And like I said, it's a great way to kind of break the ice and start your meeting. Okay, so let's look at Google Docs now. It really is essentially really the same process that we just did in Microsoft Word, just a little bit different. And don't worry if you don't catch all of the directions as I am doing the tutorial of how to create these, because I have given you step-by-step directions at the end, and I also have provided all of the handouts so that you don't have to quickly write down everything. I want you to hopefully enjoy this, and obviously I want you to be able to see ways that you might be able to use this and how to generate these and how easy it is. So let's see how you would do it if you were using Google Docs.
The second free word cloud generator is none other than Google Docs. You can do this with an add-on as well. So you're going to open up a new Google Doc if you do not have this add-on, and you're going to go to the add-on tab. You're going to select that, and you're going to go to Get Add-on. Once you do that, you're going to go up to the search bar and you're going to type in Word Cloud Generator, and then go ahead and search for that. Now, a few options will come up. Some of them make you purchase the premium. We're not going to do that. We're going to do just the simple one, the one that's free, and it really does a nice job for what it's intended to do. We're going to choose this Word Cloud Generator. Go ahead and select that. And then you're going to go to Install. It's saying get ready to install. Go ahead and select Continue. You're going to have to tell it what account, and then hit Allow. Now, once it is installed as a Google add-on, you're going to go ahead and I'll show you what it looks like. So now, when I open up my same doc, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paste in the text from a fairy tale. Again, this is the same text that I had done with the other option, which was Microsoft Word. I'm going to go ahead and paste that in there. All it is a story that I copied off the internet. I'm going to go to the add-on tab, and then I'm going to go to Word Cloud Generator. I'm going to go ahead and select, let's do modern. It's going to go ahead and work, and again, it's going to pull it over on the right side of your screen where you can download it. So I'm going to go ahead and select download. It's going to go and start downloading into my downloads folder. When it has completed, I'm going to go here and I'm going to do this. I'm going to say show in my folder, of which it's right there. You can take it and then drag it out onto your Google Doc, and there is your word cloud generated super quick and just clicking and dragging. So super easy, and again, it is free.
So both of those options are very simple. Now, it does not have all the bells and whistles. I am assuming if you did a search in that marketplace on Google, there's probably other options that you could use. They're always updating and adding things in, but those are free, simple, easy to use. And as you get more into this and use it with your class more frequently, you may want to go in and look to see at some of the other options that you can do with those free options. This third one is an actual website. It is a free website. It's just wordart.com. And what I like about this is that you can actually put the information into different shapes, and you can change the colors. There's all kinds of things you can do with this. So again, free, but let me show you how this one works. This one, like I said, is the website. You have to go to wordart.com, and let me show you how easily you can create word art and the word clouds on this site.
The next site that I want to highlight is called wordart.com. You can see that it is up here in the Omni bar. You are going to probably want to log in because it will save your pictures. Now, this is a site that really creates custom word cloud images on things like mouse pads and t-shirts. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a project to be used for education. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead to create now. Now, I've already signed up for an account, but you're going to go to where it says create. You have a lot of different options. I'm going to show you the option that I prefer, but obviously it's pretty user-friendly, but I'm going to show you a couple of things that make your life a lot easier. So the first thing I'm going to do is you're going to notice there's different options down here. So I'm going to import the words rather than going and typing each word individually. Now, if you were going to be using this with a classroom, you could pull this up and you could type in as they were giving you the words, and you could type them in. I'm going to go to a little bit different way. I'm going to go to import. And then you're going to notice the options come up. You can go ahead and you can paste in text here, or you can get it from a particular website. I'm going to go to a particular website. Now, I've already copied the URL on my clipboard of the web address where I found it. It is a fairy tale. So I'm going to go ahead in here and I'm going to paste it in. So I select my text and paste it in, and then I'm going to hit import the words. And you're going to notice that all of these words get generated over here on the side. Now, you can choose to take some of these words off if you want. If you wanted to take them off, all you would do is click it, and then you would remove it. So you go to the caret, and you can up here, remove that word, or you can change, certain fonts for that particular word. But we're not going to go that extensive in our word. I'm going to give you the simple view of it, and then you can go back and play with it. So I'm going to go ahead. I imported the words from the web page. Now I'm going to go up to shapes, And because I was using Beauty and the Beast, let's say I wanted to import the words into the shape of a rose. So I'm going to go to where it says Add Image. Again, you're going to have the option of opening an image from your computer or opening an image from a link. I have an image from a link, so I did a Google search. I found an image. Let me find it. On the website, and I put it up here on my tab. So I'm going to go to this. I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy image address. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my tab and I'm going to paste in Control V, maybe Control V, and then hit load. Now you're going to see that it comes up here. I'm going to put the threshold down because we really don't need to have a big threshold, and I'm going to say okay. Once I do that, you're going to see that the image has arrived over here in my shapes. Okay, so I'm going to select that, and I'm going to go to my fonts. I'm going to choose my font. So let's say I'm going to use this. In my layout, I want it to be random. And my style, I can choose different colors. I'm going to leave it the way it is. And then I'm going to go to Visualize. And what it did was it placed all of my words that I had selected into the shape of the rose, and it made the words that were more frequent larger. You can choose to redo it and have it do a different way and visualize it a little bit differently. It will resort the words and put them in a little bit different location. Now, let's say you want to keep this particular one. Now, remember, it is trying to get you to purchase things. So if you go over here to download it as a JPEG, it's going to go ahead and it's going to download it onto your computer. Now, one thing that you need to remember is that if you wanted to do these high quality things, you're going to want to download that and you're going to have to create an account. So for example, if I chose this as a PNG, it's going to give me this warning that, I need to buy something. If you don't do it in high quality, don't worry about it. You can just download it as a standard PNG, which is a transparent image, or a JPEG. So I did both of those down here below. Now, when I go ahead and I show it in my folder, I find my word art, then I can save it to a particular location on my computer. And when I have done that, when I go to open up a new, let's do this. I'm going to open up a new Word document and I'm going to paste it in. So I'm going to find my Downloads tab. So here's my download tab. I'm going to take and I'm going to drag it onto my document, and there it is. Pretty simple.
So that is how you use wordart.com. And what I really like about wordart.com is that you can create those shapes. There are shapes that are already preloaded in there, but if there's something specific, or if your students draw something, or even if you have a particular logo, for example, Muskingum Valley has the little dude guy, the little kid that is throwing the stars. You could choose that and upload your words to that. So all kinds of different options that you can use in order to kind of get your point across. It is a visual representation. The more frequently used words or concepts are larger and more visible. On that particular one with word art, you can change the colors of just certain words. So there's all kinds of different options and a lot more bells and whistles if you use that one. Now, as I used earlier in the presentation, Mentimeter is the last one, which is my fourth bonus one that I'm going to give you. And it does have a lot of bells and whistles itself. Instead of me redoing something that they already have on the site, I'm going to share with you just their quick little tutorial on how to use a word cloud. And it honestly is really just as simple as they do on theirs. So let's see what it looks like.
This video will show you how to create your first Mentimeter word cloud. This feature enables your audience to input words to create a word cloud that will grow and expand in an impressive way. Here is what your edit view looks like. On the right-hand side, you can see all our different question types and slide layouts. Click the word cloud question type to start creating your word cloud question. The question I have chosen is, how do you feel today? You can select the number of entries your participants can enter using their smartphone. Under Extras, you also have the option to mark the checkbox, allow voters to vote more than once. Click Present to present your word cloud in front of a live audience, and press the F key to go into full screen mode. You can see your word cloud rearrange itself in real time to emphasize the most common words submitted by your audience. And that's it. You have just created your first word cloud, built with Mentimeter.
So like I had at the beginning, on my beginning slide, I was asking about if you had to eat one food every day for the rest of your life. As the people were, or the students or my audience was entering the information with their smart device, those would come up in real time and rearrange themselves. And if there were duplications, obviously that word would be displayed larger. So if you kind of just think about how it is that you would use this, maybe you're doing vocabulary words, all kinds of different things. Great options for doing something visual with your audience, whether it is a classroom of students or a classroom of adults. But it makes it come alive, and that whole idea of it moving and changing and rearranging, it really does engage your audience. So those are just some different options on how to create those things. Now, when we talk about what our purpose is for our virtual conferences that we've been providing all year long, is that we want to make sure that you guys are integrating it into what you are using for your, like integrating it into your position. So if you are a teacher, we obviously want you to integrate this into your daily instruction. If you are an administrator, you can think about how you can use this with your audience, of whether it is your staff or if it is teaching or teachers or consultants, whatever it is that your audience is. These are different ways you can generate them. This slide really is a slide for you. It gives you each one of the options that I just went through. Pro Word Cloud, which is Word Cloud Generator, which is the add-on for Google Doc, wordart.com, and also Mentimeter. So this kind of just gives you step-by-step directions on how to access and use what I demonstrated today. Now, the most important thing I feel for anything is, like I said, is how do you use this? How do you use it for instruction, or how do you use this for your training? So I myself started to do some brainstorming and started to think about what it is that a teacher might use. So number one, obviously, is a warm-up, a pulse check of your audience. Where are they? Are they with you? Are they tired? Is it a Friday and they're not quite with you? And it's an instant engagement tool that brings a visual to what you are talking about, and it also sets the tone. And then obviously it's fun. It's something different, something fun that they can do. So I kind of went through and tried to think of some different ways that you might use this. I listed them on the screen for you, but as you are watching this in the recorded version, you can jot down some, maybe the questions and the ideas that I had for each one of these, so that you can, look back on them and say, oh, I could use it this way, or I could change this question, whatever it might be. So I thought about brain breaks. So quick questions, they don't have to be on target to what you're teaching for that lesson. It's just a quick way for you to, again, kind of gauge a pulse of your audience and really bring your audience into what it is you're doing. Sometimes we all need a brain break. We need a joke. We need a question to just, for a few moments, kind of allow you to refocus. And it will really help set your tone for the rest of your lesson. Again, I had done a presentation last week or the week before last on icebreakers. These are things super important to me in order for me to get my audience ready for what I am training them on. So things like, where are you from? What do you know about today's topic? How are you feeling about implementing this strategy? All of those things that you can just get a personal note or a personal thought from your guests. The third idea I had were do it now strategies. So again, a pulse check, a quick read of a room so that your students can share ideas at the beginning of a lesson. You can use prompts like choose 2 words to describe how you're feeling today, or how would you describe the character that we read yesterday? Were they grumpy? Were they happy? All of those different things. Or you could have your audience or your students skim an article and then say something like, add 2 words that jump out to you from the the selection of text that we just read. So it's a way for you to share ideas at the beginning of the lesson and also at the end of your lesson, kind of as a summary. The fourth thing I thought about was a vocabulary check. So you could ask your students to which words did you struggle with, or did you struggle to pronounce? So sometimes our selection of text for our students have some names that maybe have a regional vibe to them, or you could say things like, what words did you struggle to pronounce or spell or wrap your head around? Or even things like if you're studying, if another student is studying a specific topic, you could say, which words do you need to know now because you are, been doing some research, but what are the words that you don't know based on the research that you have been doing? And so you could have the students enter those words, and it doesn't have to be just one word. It could be a series of words. And you could think of things like, which words have you been using more in your own writing and your own conversations based on the research you're doing? So all of these ways are for you to ask your students to get ready to learn the content, or maybe they have given you these challenging words. Now you know, okay, now I have to follow up on these words. So depending on the results of the word cloud, you can either start a conversation with students about how to tackle those challenging words, or if they know them all, you can move on. So it's kind of just a way for you to understand where your students are and whether you need to reteach, because several of them don't understand, and the word cloud, those words that they don't understand are obviously displayed much larger. Another thing I thought of is reflection. So you could do prompts like, how would you learn more about George Washington? Or something like, if you'd went on a field trip, what's a word that you could use to describe today's experience? And I know I have someone who will naturally say, these are one-word responses. And I agree with that. But these one-word responses are a good start. And it can be the pathway for you to move on to more challenging or formal writing pieces. By having these one-word responses, you are able now to get them thinking about using them in larger pieces. Another thing, share a favorite. So kids and adults love to talk about themselves. And so you could say something like, what is your favorite season? What's your favorite ice cream flavor or sport? So whatever that might be, sharing a favorite to open a lesson or close out a week is a great option for bringing students together to talk about themselves and building community in your classroom. And if you've been in a classroom that has been remote, it's a great way to kind of get them together and find commonalities in the students that are there. Now, there was one that I had read about in a previous article that I was talking about. And I thought this was a really, really good thought as I was doing this. So just trying to think of ways that you guys could use it in the classroom. The thought was, the article was about how you use word clouds, obviously, but they had an example of, you had a guest speaker in your classroom, and as the guest speaker had finished their talk, whether it was about, you know, creating a positive mindset or whatever it might be, you could ask the student something like, what did you learn, or what are some final thoughts that you had after we have listened to this guest speaker? And they could enter those words and create a word art or a word cloud. And then you can save that and either print it off or put it within your thank you letter that you send to that guest speaker. And it's a great way for them to get some feedback on what their audience heard. So another great way to use these word clouds for your instruction or your classroom. Now, I do want to share one additional document. I'll show you what it looks like. Let me go to my document camera. And I know that this is pretty small. I'll try to zoom in a little bit so you can see this, but I did give you a copy of this, but these are just some ideas for using word clouds in the classroom. Again, I provided a copy of this for you, and as you hear of different ones, you can obviously jot them down, but just different articles that I read and different research in preparation for this, I tried to find some things that I could list for you guys. Some of the ones that I haven't mentioned already are things like summarizing topics, or even, this is a big one, building empathy within your classroom, and talking about those things that we really need to build this community in our classroom. So you could do things like, you know, what's your top stress factor right now? Or what's your favorite activity to relieve stress? All these different things are great ways to make those connections in your classroom, and we know that when we're making those connections that the students are actually learning and remembering. So just some different prompts and some different ideas that, again, I will make sure you have a copy of these that you can use for your instruction. So I am going to end it right there. I know this was a long me talking, and when I'm doing the recorded version versus the live version, I don't have those breaks where the audience can enter in the information. I can gauge that audience and who is listening to my information. But I want to thank you for coming. If you have questions, feel free to email me. My email is on the screen. And if you would like, I actually need you to use that QR code to fill out your attendance. And once you fill out your attendance, you will be emailed a contact hour for attending this word cloud session. And if the QR code does not work for you when you enter Google Classroom, at the beginning I gave you the link and the code for that, and you can get to my attendance form. It will be posted there as well, but that QR code will take you directly to it where you can fill that out, and it will create your contact hour and it will email it to you. So as always, thank you so much for coming. I can't take credit for these cool slides because I use Slides Mania to find this cool little template. You can use Slides Mania too, and let me give them a little bit of props for allowing me to use that. So there you go, and hopefully you come back next time, and there's lots of great topics out there for you guys to watch on your own time, and hopefully learn some information that maybe you didn't know before and how you can use these things for your classroom.